All right, we are recording. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever it is you are watching from. Welcome to the Peasant Party Podcast. We're going to have a fun one today. It is extremely hot outside in Austin, Texas. I think we're going into 100-degree weather or something like that. So it'll be a fun one. And yeah, we're going into what I call hot guy, hot girl summer, which makes me super excited to introduce my guest today. I'll start off, though, by introducing one of my rotating co-hosts. Like I've always said about this format, I want to have rotating co-host that's a close personal friend who has an interest in dating, who's not necessarily privy to all of these online TikTok-y dating terms. So yeah, without further ado, I'll introduce my rotating co-host first. Tell me about yourself.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
What's your name?
So nervous. My name is Annabelle Warren, and I am your sister.
Yes, you are.
And I allegedly have an interest in dating. So here we are.
Yeah, you've got some takes on it.
I've got takes. I've got takes. So
tell me about what's what is your relationship status and how long has it been that way?
Oof. Okay, dude. It's okay. So I'm single first and foremost, but just being in Austin and being single in Austin, I've lived here for a year and a half, but I was dating people who lived out of town or lived back home or whatever. So this is kind of recently now my first experience attempting to date people who live in Austin.
That's true. Yeah, you've had some long-term relationships, and this is kind of your first summer actively dating again, basically. Awesome. Yes. And as I said about the note of, not necessarily privy to all of those online TikTok-y terms, Annabelle, what does sexual marketplace value mean?
What? Sexual marketplace value.
Yeah, what does that mean? It's a bit, everybody in dating uses it, apparently.
What? Everyone in dating uses it?
According to the internet.
What are you talking about? Okay. I don't know. It sounds like it has something to do with money, paying for sex.
Exactly. See, nobody in the world actually talks like that, and everyone who uses those terms, if you were to use them to an average everyday person, they would think you were a fucking loser. So that's proof. But yeah, without further ado, I want to introduce my guest to my right. We've got Justine over here.
Hi. Yeah, my name's Justine. I also have my own little podcast about sex and dating. And so I have been single for about a year, but I am divorced. So I was married. We were together about 6.5 years. So it was a long time. I was only married for 13 months. Left it about a year ago. So definitely getting into the dating world and exploring after a long time of not being single.
Nice. And tell us a bit more about kind of what you do. I know you're Just Fit Justine on Instagram and TikTok. Can you tell us all a bit more about that?
So I am a health and fitness coach. So I do online personal training and nutrition coaching, and I do it all online. So that's really my bread and butter. And then I just run my podcast as my passion project.
Awesome. And that's the Villainera podcast,
yes.
Right?
So that's been all about, post-divorce, dating, really finding my sexuality again, which has been a big thing because I was not having sex in my marriage and stuff like that. So talking a lot about topics just to empower women on that journey.
Awesome. And yeah, so it's what kind of topics do you cover, and what days do you what days does your podcast release?
Podcast comes out on Fridays, and I usually do a little recap of whatever terrible date I've been on that week. And then so some of my most popular episodes are, did DMT make me get a divorce? So did some psychedelics and then left my marriage about a week later.
Damn, let's go.
Okay. Why I got married when I was having doubts. So that was a big one. Talking about going into hot girl summer now, my tips for having better sex life. So those are a lot of the good, probably some of the hottest topic, most popular ones.
Damn, I feel I got a whole character arc from that.
Yeah.
You have a big regeneration, transformation era.
Hence the name, Villainera.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah. How is the Villainera going?
I like to think of it, I'm not very good at it. It's kind of like I'm like too nice, right? I see a lot of people on like TikTok, they're like, oh, you're in your villain era, like block him, or like, oh, you're in your villain era, like be mean. And I was like, that's not really like what I think about it. It's just more like, finding myself and like not being like a people pleaser or living for other people's standards anymore. So that's been a big change. But one of the big things that when I was in my marriage is that every single person was like, the things that we love about you, like my friends, my family, the things that we think are amazing were all the things that he hated. And so they're like, it's just been amazing to see you like come out and like be that person again that we knew from before, that he like really dimmed your shine, and just getting to like express myself again. So
that's awesome.
Damn, that's crazy. They all were like, the things that we loved about you the most.
Yes.
He told you not to do, pretty much.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Whoa,
and the emails I
damn.
get about my podcast. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I bet they're insane.
Oh goodness. Yeah, and I think that's the good thing about like a lot of those little buzzwords terminology that the big influencers throw our way is villain era, hot girl summer. It means something different to every single one of us, and it's about going kind of within your comfort zone, whatever those terms mean. So I think you're doing your villain era probably just fine.
Yes.
Exactly. And you're relatively new to Austin, right?
Yeah, December.
Nice.
Yeah.
How has kind of dating been here for you?
So I will say I had a lot better time dating here. I was in Cincinnati for a few months before this, and that was definitely just too Republican small town for me, for like lack of a better way to put it. So I have been having, I would say, like people I'm like way more interested in Austin, but also I just think there's so many like Peter Pan syndrome, like no one wants to commit, and like really just it's so like I've had so many instances where like men have asked me out, asked for my number, taken me on dates, like planned dates, like reservations, all sorts of stuff, and then we're going into this, and then they're like, oh, I don't want a relationship. I don't want to date.
Dude,
I'm like,
literally, what the?
Then
I've had
leave
this
me
happen
alone.
like 3 times in the last like few months.
I'm like,
that
you
exact
started this.
script, start to finish. Yes, they're in your DMs. They're begging you to like go out, and then they're like, oh, I just wanted to see if I could do it. Actually,
I'm like, you literally, I did not pursue you. Like, I don't know why this is happening.
My God.
And this is why I knew you would be a good co-host to vibe with Justine, because I think
I'm gonna shit on men.
No. I think because you got similar experiences. Annabelle's relatively new to Austin as well, kind of single, dating for the first time after some long-term relationships, and I think it'll be a good conversation from
Damn, it's just
that
crazy,
standpoint.
but like, yeah, because I'm so new to it now, I'm like hearing other people talking about it. I'm like, oh my God, dude, you too. What? It's so weird. It's like a weird cyclical behavior of men. It's like Austin has like a weird like curse upon its men.
I think
they just do this to every
it's adult
woman.
Disneyland for some people, I will say. And I think, you shared the article. I think it was like KXAN shared. It's older. It's actually older than I thought. But around ghosting. Apparently, Austin, Texas has, what is it, like a 500% compared to other cities.
Sorry, what?
Match.com reported.
500%?
Yes. So Match.com reported, and this is from back in 2019, that the city of Austin has let's pull up that article. We have, like, Match.com says that Austin men are 549% more likely than other singles in other cities to ghost.
This is a blight. This is a plague. This is insane.
And they also say that, Match also says that Austin men are 400% more likely to breadcrumb and 297% more likely to come back as a zombie. And as you know about breadcrumbing, that's when you leave the little breadcrumbs. Kind of, I think it's probably the same thing as a slow fade, where it's like the messages, but I think maybe breadcrumbing feels a little bit more intentional. Like a slow fade, it happens, and then zombieing is when you show back up, come back from the dead.
They always come back.
That's so crazy. If I get zombied, that's gonna make me want to box somebody. Like, don't you dare zombie me. I'll be pissed.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. I do wonder where they're getting those numbers from, in just a sense of like, is it self-reported? Because I always think any kind of dating statistics, I'm always wary of when it involves going out and surveying people and them self-reporting, because first, I think it takes a certain type of person, selection bias, to participate in a dating survey. I think people, the most, fuckboy crazy people are not taking dating surveys. They're just out in the world. And I also think that nobody is self-aware. So people think, qualities about themselves are, better than they are and whatnot. So, but those are some pretty crazy numbers. And I think it's just kind of a testament to just how the lay of the land of Austin.
So I went on 2 dates with this guy a couple weeks ago.
Oh, man.
And I thought they went great. At the end of it, he was like, I don't know if this is moving too fast. I want you to come meet, like, my best girlfriend. She's at this one bar. And he, like, he takes me home at the end of the night. Like, we kiss. He's like, I had such a great time talking about, like, future dates, all this stuff. I end up never hearing from him again. Well, I run into him twice in the same, literally within the next, like, week of each other. So I'm just like, Austin is such a small town. I don't know what people are thinking about doing. Like, when you ghost them, I'm like, you're gonna see me again. And I literally ran into him twice. The first time I saw him...
It's so small. Oh, my God.
Well, the first time I saw him, I was drunk. So he walked into the bar, and I literally just, like, flicked him off. I was like, fuck you. Like...
Instinctual.
Yeah. And then the second time I saw him, I was with Owen. And I went inside to order, and I was like, he is fucking here again. Like, oh my gosh.
So same place, though? So you ran into him
No,
at
2 different places.
Yes.
It was on a Tuesday and then a Friday.
Interesting.
What was his response? Did he, like, duck into a corner, or did he just have no shame, or what?
Oh, so when he saw me and I flicked him off, he was like, oh, you're going to be like that? He was like, I was going to text you back, but you have really aggressive energy. And he was like, I've been really hungover. I'm like, you've been really hungover for a week? Like, also, he was at the bar with another girl.
Oh, goodness. No.
So,
I've been really hungover.
I'm like, well, you weren't hungover enough to,
I'm using that as my excuse every time I want to, like, go somebody for now. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I was really hungover
for a week. And I was like,
months.
and you made plans with this other girl to show up at this bar. So, and he was like, we can't, this is not the place to talk about it. This is not the place to talk about it. And then when we saw each other the second time, we both were like, we're not gonna act like we know each other.
Yeah, Austin's one of those cities. It's not like a New York. You will bump into people. Someone knows somebody. Someone knows someone who worked at Oracle. All that.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. No, I actually, when I was on the date with this man, my sneaky link was there, and he saw us making out.
Dope.
And then they were like kind of like acquaintances. And then I've had another situation where I have gone on a date with that I'm like, oh my God, they're friends. And Austin's like just so small. I'm like, this is all too
God, dude, everybody just knows everybody for sure. Like in industries too, like the service industry, everybody knows each other. There's so much overlap. Like in Austin, which is a huge city.
Yeah, so it made me delete my dating apps.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to
for real? You deleted them?
I was like, I just keep running into all these same people that know each other. I'm like, I'm done. I need to like get off of this and like cleanse.
Yeah. I never liked them. Like what I think, because I've been in a relationship for a few months, but even before that, I don't think I was on dating apps for at least like over like a year. I just never liked it because I always thought the type of guy I like didn't present himself well on a dating app. Like I kind of like a more like rugged, outdoorsy guy. And of course, those are the guys that are like never take pictures of themselves and stuff. And I think there's a certain type of guy that stands out on dating apps that I'm just like meh on. Like the one that's like, I don't know, entrepreneur type that has too many like polished pictures.
Perfect,
which is not my type.
straight white veneers in every picture.
Not my type.
Manicured eyebrows.
No, give me some cowboy boots and I'm into it. But yeah, like it's so I never liked it. But it also just kind of takes the accountability away from things. Like if you think of back in the day, you met people because they lived down the street from you, or like your aunt introduced them to you. And you know what would happen if you go on a date with someone and you ghost them? That aunt who introduced you is probably going to hit you up and say, like, why the heck did you ghost this person that I introduced you to? And I think dating apps have obviously led to that phenomenon a ton.
Yeah, but also at the same time, I also think that's why, because the people I keep dating that, like, know each other, it's like, because I'm meeting them at, like, events, and then, like, they're friends of friends. I'm like, oh, like, I don't know. So it's kind of causing me the issues because I am running into people. I'm like, oh, they're all friends that I like keep meeting.
Yeah. I think there's the double-edged sword to it where it's like it makes the stakes higher, where it's like, oh shoot, if I go on this date with this person and then screw this up, or we hook up and I realize, oh, they're not it, then I'm the bad guy who has to see this person again. So it's like there's totally a double-edged sword to it, and I think it depends what you're ready for and just knowing like what types of connections work best for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you believe that like you can beat that statistic or that odd with like the men in Austin? Do you think it's a matter of like effort of like trying to get them to break their Peter Pan syndrome, or do you think they're just gonna be in it until they're done with it?
That's a tough one, because I think guys tend to think they're like 27 years old until they're 85. as long as like the world lets them, they will.
Yeah.
And of course they see like, what's it, like, is it Al Pacino? Al Pacino's
Oh my
having
God,
a child as an 80-something-year-old. Like, see, that could be me. It's like, I don't know if that could be you, but I think, but it's also just, like you have, a city full of transplants. Everyone wants to make friends. There's sort of this feeling of like, oh, like I'm not going to necessarily put down roots here that some people have, where it's like, oh, I can just be on my worst behavior. Nothing's stopping me. The person to my left, to my right is having fun doing what I'm doing. And yeah, I think it really takes, I think a lot of guys too, it's like I feel like people like to like grow up with their friends. And I think it's like when the guy to his left, guy to his right starts, getting married, trying to settle down, they'll do the same.
I literally just was talking to my therapist about this. She's like, one of the things that you should be more intentional about is looking at where their friends are in life, because they're probably not going to be the first one to like, oh, I'm going to get into a relationship if all of their friends are out like clubbing and partying every night and doing stuff. But if a lot of their friends are married or in relationships or committed, then they're going to be more likely to possibly want a relationship too.
Exactly. And I think that's like a good thing to look at, because some people are like, oh, like how old are they? Or like looking at like age, looking at other like factors in life. It's like, no, like I think it's like, where are the friends at? Because I think too, it's like I'm a person who wants to like grow up with my friends. Like I want to be able to call my friends, and like we got kids the same age. Like, oh, like, what happens when they accidentally swallow, something silly? What'd you do? Like, so I think that just kind of happens like naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you just sitting there thinking?
I don't know. It's just like, so basically they just have to,
well, I think
they have to get to that point themselves.
Yeah, but I think it's also not on you to train people. Like, never go into meeting someone, dude, like, never go into something being like, oh, this person would be great if they were whatever. It's walk away and find the person who's in the place where you want them to be. And it's kind of like, of course, the ones that are having the most like fun dating, and in a sense that it's all fun and games, like might be a bit more visible. So it's like finding the right places to look for the right people.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's like that early stage. It's like it can't get off the ground, It's like you can't even get into the like relationship and then break up. Like it's like it just kind of flutters there before, and then it like dies, and it's this cycle. So it's like, I don't know. Commitment is
it's interesting.
It's like I'm not even asking you for like a lifetime commitment. I'm just asking to like hang out and, like for a few weeks in a row and like kick it and talk about feelings. And they're like, oh shit.
I think it's like guys maybe are too afraid of like the bad ending, where they're just like, oh, can't let it get there. Like I think there's like some male ego involved too, where it's like, oh no, she's gonna fall in love with me. Like,
boo, bitch. Oh my god.
I have to tell this story.
Oh, let's tell some. We love the stories.
So the last guy that I just stopped seeing, I literally met him the day I moved to Austin. Uh-huh. So we've been like on and off for 6 months. Like I've been dating a lot of other people, but I would say like the last 2 months we've been spending like 3 to 4 nights a week together, and very like, I don't know. We spend a lot of time together. So he's the one who saw me out with another guy, and he freaked out, and he got super jealous, and he was like, I don't want you seeing other people. And I was like, no, you don't want to date me. I'm not telling you we're committed if that's not what's going to happen. And so then a week goes by, or I had like ended it. He calls me up, has me come over to his place, candles in the bath, like the whole bathroom filled with candles, a bubble bath, white wine. This man tells me that he's in love with me.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like, so...
Oh, my God.
So romantic. And then, like, I had, like, an eye infection. He, like, brought me ice cream. He's like, oh, I went and got your favorite ice cream. Yeah, he told me he loved me. Literally, wow. Then I spent the next, like, 5 out of 6 days with him. We talk every day. 2 weeks go by, we're spending, like, every day. I run into him on Saturday out at a bar, and he told me that I was acting too much like his girlfriend in public. I'm like, so you can tell me that you love me in private, but I can't act like we even know each other in public. So I think that's like another thing where it's like the Peter Pan thing comes in. It's like a lot of guys, and you can just tell by how they date, like they like the idea of like having girlfriends sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like on the Sunday they want someone to rub their back, they want someone to cuddle with, but Saturday night comes around, they want to be single. Yes.
And it's also just like, I think sometimes guys will do like nice things and they don't realize like the weight it carries. It's like, yeah, like if you want somebody to like rub your back and watch movies with you and tell you how special you are, like they're going to think that it means something, and like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, he sent me like a little apology text. Was like, I'm sorry if I was oblivious to leading you on. He's like, I'm just not like
oblivious to leading you on.
He's like, I should have done better at keeping it casual. I was like,
sorry,
saying I love you is not casual. Like, period. It's not casual.
Yeah. And
I was like, we're done.
It's not casual, babe.
He's like, you unfollowed me. I was like, yeah.
Yes.
Like,
who is this man? See, that's the thing, because it's like, I definitely don't want somebody who doesn't want me, obviously. You know, it's not like I'm like, oh, I really want this man, but he's just not like ready to commit. It's just, it's so infuriating, like the logic that they bring to the fucking table when it comes to relationships. It's such like a waste of time.
I wonder too, like, I wonder if it sometimes comes from, because it's like, you know, like women, female friendships, like we'll go to brunch and we'll talk about all of these. Like I feel like guys don't necessarily talk about it, where it's
they
like
don't do
so
that.
They maybe like aren't as, I feel like, in touch with feelings. Like it's like I've never written a breakup text on my own. It has a committee of editors and proofreaders amongst all of my female friends, and I'm like, what did you say when you had to do this? And I wonder if kind of guys just like don't really know what to do because they're not having those conversations the way we are.
Yeah, that's true. Because that other thing is like, all of my friends knew who he was, right? Like, if I said his name, they would all be like, oh, yeah, we know what's going on. When I saw him out at the bar with, like, his group of friends, like, none of them knew who I was. I was like, we've been hanging out for so long, and they're like, who is this girl? Like, they're not talking about it.
The craziest thing.
Yeah.
Dude, I literally just had this happen with a dude that I was seeing, and we were reading books together. Literally, we're like, we're gonna do a little book club, and we're reading books together. And then fully, it was just like dead stop. One day, he was in my DMs begging me to go out before, like, for like months. Finally, was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And then one day, he's just like, sorry, I'm just really busy.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and I talked to my therapist about this too. She's like, Justine, like, you were not in love with this man. Your ego is bruised. She's like, the whole time that you've known him, you have been out dating so many other guys. You've been continuing to look. She's like, if this was someone you were in love with, you would not have been, you know, going on all of these other dates, like looking for something else.
True.
And your ego's just hurt. And I'm like, yeah, it is hurt. Like,
same dog, yes, absolutely. I don't give a shit about him, but like, really?
And I actually, and this maybe pivots from the original outline. I actually want to talk about the getting the bruised ego when dating, because that was always something I struggled with, was just like this idea that I'm this big loser. And like, I don't know, maybe it's just like guys trying to be nice, where they kindness their way into being an asshole, but they always had this way of writing the most condescending freaking breakup texts, and it made me feel like such a loser. Like, how do you guys like the kind of ego part? Because it's like, as much as people are like, oh, get over your ego, and it's easier said than done, and it can affect who you are kind of going forward as you go about dating. Like, how do you manage with like avoiding a bruised ego, or like things you can tell yourself, you know, when you kind of have those moments?
Bro,
I don't know.
Honestly, it helps to have like outside validation, I think. You know, you have to have like your homies who are like, that guy is fucking stupid, and like, obviously you're not the problem. Like, it really helps to have people like support you, because if you don't have anybody like supporting you through a breakup, like, it will crush you.
One of the things I really like to do if something ends as well is I write a list about all of the reasons the guy sucked. And then I like go back to that list, because you always look back at things with like rose-colored glasses and you think things are so much better, and you're like, no, remember all of these issues, like that this was not going to work out, and I kind of refer back to that. And I think that just being more, it's like my ego was bruised because I knew it wasn't going to go somewhere, and I let it go on. Whereas like, okay, I need to be more intentional of stopping things once they get to a point of like, I'm like, okay, this isn't going anywhere, right? And I'm like, no, I'm just mad at myself for not listening to myself. Like, I'm not even mad that he doesn't want me. I'm just mad that I didn't listen to my intuition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too, is like, being like kind of taking a more proactive role in like ending something or saying something if you feel like things are like kind of pittering out. Like, it's almost like, you know, something's wrong under the hood of the car, but just as long as you play dumb, it's like you have no idea, like, oh, there's no problems until you lift up the hood, and it's like maybe just lifting up the hood and saying, hey, what are we doing here? Like, you know, I'm here for these reasons, like, what about you, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've really changed, is I feel like I used to try and be like the chill girl and like the cool girl, and I'm like, oh, nothing's gonna bother me. And now I'm very much like, if you are gonna disrespect me, I'm gonna stand up for myself. And I'm gonna let it,
Hell yeah.
I'm like,
that's so sick.
I used to be so like, oh, don't send the text, just like whatever. And now I'm just kind of like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Sorry. Can I cuss on your podcast?
Yes, you can. You can cuss all you want.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think that's so sick. Like, you have to. I totally was the same way. I wanted to be like kind of the chill girl, like let the red flags slide. And now it's like, no, bitch. No, the standard stays right here.
Yeah, and I think kind of that going from chill girl to being the hot girl, I kind of want to pivot into talking a bit about hot girl summer, because it is, what is it? Are we June 14th right now?
Yes.
We're going to be hitting the summer in 1 week from today.
Oh, I am in hot girl summer already.
I think we have the best person. We have one of the best people here to talk about hot girl summer. I know, like your content has a huge theme of like looking better in your 30s than your 20s. I am a recent 30-year-old, so I love that type of memo. I firmly believe I look better now than I did at 21. So yeah, kind of want to like jump into like, what does hot girl summer or hot guy summer look like? Hot guy summer look like? I have a 40% male listenership, so shout out to all the dudes out there. We want you to have a hot guy summer too. What does, I guess, before we jump into things, what does hot girl or hot guy summer mean to you?
I think it just really means living a summer for you and going out and not, to my point, not crying over a stupid boy. Or I would say too, I'm really looking for just spending time with my friends and like saying yes to everything and doing a lot of different, I have like a summer bucket list, and really not, for me, kind of taking a step away from dating and looking for a relationship right now, and focusing just like so much more on me and having a really fun time and making out with a lot of people.
Nice. It's a reverse cuffing season.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Annabelle?
Yeah, I think hot girl summer in my vision is like just being all different types of like versions of you, you know, and like trying everything out and just bodying it. Also getting a bunch of tattoos. That's very hot girl summer. Like, that's the quickest way to make like a super sexy hot transformation, you know?
Yeah.
For summer, yeah, and you're showing off your bod and you're all tatted. Yeah, that's hot girl summer.
I agree with that. Yeah, as far as kind of what kind of would be your suggestions as far as, you know, hot girl, hot guy summer, getting out in the world? What are some things like you're going to do as far as meeting new people, maybe not necessarily looking for a relationship, but being open to the possibilities? Like, do you have anything on your calendar or anything that's you're looking to do?
I would say that I am just someone who is really open to saying yes to anything right now. So last night, I've literally been out every night this week already. But last night, I'm just, like, one girl is like, hey, a bunch of people are going to, they were at Revelry. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go. Like, I probably should go home and get a good night's sleep. But I went out and it was awesome because I just got to meet cool people. And then from there, they're like, oh, we're having a pool party next Saturday. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, I'm in. And then I'm like, oh, now I get to go to this pool party and I'll meet a ton of new people there. And just really exploring. I have a whole list of places I want to go in Austin. Different restaurants, bars, so like working down that list.
Dude, this is hot girl summer.
But then I do have a little bucket list of things. I'm like, all right, so I'm about to move, so I'm like, kind of, I got to get the move out of the way. I want to join a pole gym. I want to do some pole fitness.
Me too. Oh my God.
Yeah, I do want to get another tattoo. I actually really want to go to like the Mini Mondays. They have like $35 tattoos.
Girl, don't.
Why?
Don't do it, because you're going to get a $35 tattoo. That's why.
I mean, that's what my first one is, so it'll be fine. Yeah, but that's what I like. I feel like I need something like that because I'm non-committal, so I just need to like show up and be like, all right, let's get the
that's the best way. Like pull up and
pole classes, tattoos. There's just so much stuff I haven't done in Austin yet, so just like
Barton Springs. Have you gone to Barton?
I haven't been to Barton Springs.
Okay, that's the ultimate like hot girl destination.
I know like Jazz on the Green.
Blues on the Green is great, and I think like whatever city you're in, for the most part, I think most cities in the summer, whether it's like the whatever city you live in, it's put on by the city, or, you know, like local organizations like sponsor them. But if your city does like a movies in the park or like Jazz in the Park, Austin has Blues in the Green. It is next month. There's a one Tuesday night, one Wednesday night, and it is just awesome because it's free. All these like food vendors, like H-E-B comes and sponsors everything, and it's a great way to either meet people. It's a great free date night idea, basically. Damn, but if your city's doing movies in the park, like when I lived in Santa Barbara, they did it every summer, every Friday. I think that is just like a great
I also have
opportunity.
yet to be on Lake Austin or Lake Travis, so if anyone has
No
a boat
way.
and they want me to come shake their ass and hacks on it, I'm available.
Boats are always the move too, and I think if you live in a city where there's lakes, like the move is like there's it's usually like 8 people, and I think it's like the boat people. It's usually someone that owns a boat, and they'll be like $500 for 4 hours, and you split it amongst 8 people. It costs less than like going out drinking downtown. Everyone brings a 12-pack of beers and coolers, and it's a great time too. Like when we've usually done it, we'll get them in advance, like weekends in advance. We'll have like 2 or 3 people that are committed in, and then it's kind of nice too because like nobody says no to a boat. So it's like the random new coworker that you're trying to get to know, or like the new neighbor or something like that. It's like, hey, we've got some spots on the boat. Like, do you want to come? Or like if someone's single, it's like, oh, cool. Like, invite your your date to it. So I think, and like so people always think of like when people talk about like who has a boat, like boats, it's like it's all about like, oh, the rich person who owns the boat. Like, no, you can rent them, and it is a great way to spend a Saturday. I think it's way healthier than just going out to a bar and like throwing money. So I think I can't stress it.
That vitamin D.
Yeah,
totally.
I was on
Floating also.
Floating is a great alternative.
Allegedly, I've never done it before.
That's on my list, yeah.
But yeah, I would love to. It's like a 3 or 4 hour float or something.
Yeah, in San Marcos River.
I think a lot of people just get hammered and do it. But
yeah,
that's
you
so
do.
Scary to me. Oh my gosh.
They have like a bus that'll take you down to San Marcos. You can also
my
float on Lady Bird Lake, and it is a cheap alternative to to boating if you don't have a boat that weekend. So anything that involves water. Apartment pools are also just, if you're in a young person city with an apartment complex that's full of young people, the apartment pools are a great way to meet people. Just go down, like bring fun cups that make people start conversation. Just make a margarita and like bring your blender.
True.
It's a good move.
I just pulled up my list, yeah. I also really want to do shrooms this summer.
Nice.
Yes! Oh my god, we should do shrooms.
I think it's Schedule 35 is the one that's like the legal one that like mails it to you. I've heard about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want a paddleboard. I also want to apply for some reality television shows. I literally just made like this most ridiculous list of like what would I do this summer? Like,
Have you been to the botanical gardens?
no.
You should do the right next to like Zilker Park. Like
Okay.
everything's all connected. It's right next to Barton Springs. You should do shrooms and go to the botanical gardens. It is beautiful there. It is absolutely breathtaking. It's so pretty.
Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Nice. I love to hear that. I think just making yourself a city bucket list for the summer and then using it to either meet people, or if you meet somebody and it's like, what do we want to do? I don't know. I've got my little bucket list.
Yeah.
Like, versus like, oh, where are we going to go? Oh, like the same date spot I always go to. Like use it as an excuse to try that new restaurant, try that new cocktail bar, and you get something out of it. Like even if the date sucks, it's like, oh, cool. At least I got to try like Kitty Cohen's or something.
I think that is so important. That's what I always try to go into my mindset with dating, because I think you can get a really negative mindset a lot if you've been dating, and you can be like, oh my God, this feels daunting. But if you just go into it where, hey, you know what, even if this guy is not my person, but I'm going to have fun and I'm going to try a new bar, or I'm going to have a new like dinner place, I think that's where you can just keep a positive mindset around it and say like, okay, this is still going to be a fun activity type of thing.
Totally.
Instead of so much pressure of like, oh, is he the one?
Totally. If you go on a date and you realize pretty quickly you're not into this person, like what is your move for playing out the date in a way that's polite but also doesn't waste your time or theirs?
I'm the worst at this. I will stay on that date. I will stay on that date all night, and my sister always yells at me. She's like, Justine, you're literally texting us that the date is terrible, and then you guys have 4 drinks together. And I'm like, I know, I just feel bad. I don't know how to end it. But
Oh no.
so that's where I could like step into my villain era a little bit better. But I'm definitely I send a text after of, I will let it fizzle. If they don't text me, I will not text. But if they text and they're like, hey, let's hang out again, I'm very pro. I am not ghosting. I don't care if it's been one date. I don't care if it's been anything. I'm going to send a text and be like, you were really nice, but I just don't see this going anywhere.
That is very polite.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to do.
So if 2 people go on a date and clearly it's not the match and then neither texts the other, is that ghosting?
No.
I agree.
I think that's like
That's a fizzle.
Yeah.
The fizzle.
A fizzle.
I think it takes 2 to be ghosted. If it's not ghosting until it's not ghosting until someone texts you and says, "Hey, I'd love to see you again," and then you like proactively like ignore that.
Yes.
I think if someone just sends you a text saying, "Hey, thanks for a nice night," and then you don't hear from them again and you don't text them, I don't think that's ghosting either. I think it's like the second they say like they want to see you again and you ignore it, it's ghosting.
I have had multiple guys, though, bring up on the first date, let's have a second date, let's do this. And then there's no follow on that. And I'm just like, why do you even say that? Just don't mention the second date if you don't, like, we could have just ended it.
There's a lot of we shoulds coming from dudes, I feel like. 'Cause I think they get ahead of themselves.
They're, like, possessed in the moment. They're like, I love you.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a date high that people get, which is why I'm, like, very, like, anti, like, marathon first date, where it's like, oh, this is going so well, let's just keep going, let's keep going. Oh, my God, we've had 10 dates in one, and then, you know, like, 2 days later, it's like, oh, shoot, what have I done here? But I think there's a high of just, like, oh, I have this person sitting across from me smiling, I'm attracted to them. And then, like, you go into, you know, work the next day, you bump into coworkers, you're sober, you have some coffee, and it's just like, do I feel the same way as I did last night?
Yeah. I don't know if I've felt that.
Because I get those where it's like, I feel like like, my problem was always, like, I'm a fun first date in the sense where it's just like, oh, shoot, like, am I doing a good job of, like, weeding out who I'm not having fun with because, like, I can just have fun with anybody.
Yeah, and you're fun, and you had fun because you're fun, and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, wait, what? I don't remember anything he said.
But I also think there's something to dating where I think people are quick to shut someone off on a first date. Where I am more like, as long as it wasn't, like, a hard no, I'll probably give that second date.
Why? Why is that?
I think that, one, people are nervous on first dates, and you don't really, I think the idea that there's, like, an instant spark or something is not the healthiest idea. I think actually feeling safe around someone where you don't necessarily feel like, oh, butterflies or whatever, but maybe someone just makes you feel safe. Yeah. And people kind of, like, misjudge that. Damn, that's real. So I think it's more so where I'm like, you know what, as long as there wasn't, like, a hard no, I'm probably going to give the second date and just get to know them a little bit better. Yeah.
Cool. And I think it's, Logan Ury, who writes the book How to Not Die Alone, recommends, like, give the second date, because sometimes it's, like, the spark, that feeling of the spark can almost be, like, a feeling of toxicity in a sense where it's, like, it's the person that keeps you hanging, that keeps you guessing and stuff, and it's, like, sometimes people's spark comes from a place of, like, chasing something unhealthy.
Yes.
It really depends, like, because it's, like, I can't tell somebody what their spark is or what a spark means to you, and it's, like, I always thought, like, I had a certain version of a spark, and my spark changed over time. It was like, oh, this version of spark isn't healthy.
So one of the things I've run into a little bit, and I have talked about, is that sometimes I'm like, God, he just seems so nice. And I am a pretty, like, outspoken, I will steamroll, kind of, like, I will take charge, and I don't want to be that in the relationship. Like, I want to be with someone who is going to be, like I like a more masculine man, for lack of a better term. Word. And my therapist is like, Justine, do you want to see someone's temper on a first date? Like, you have no idea if they're too nice. They're just on a date. And I'm like, okay, this is true. Like, you're not going to see someone's, like, I don't know, bad side, or, like...
And everyone's going to be nice on a first date. Everyone's going to be, like, dressed like they're going to church or going to a choir performance. Like, they're going to have to go kiss their mom in 20 minutes after. So I think, like, you won't necessarily see that, like, edge to people. Like, I'm someone who always liked, and I didn't like, you know, bad in the sense of, like, mean, but it's like, I kind of liked an edge. Like, I've, you know, dated guys where it's like they had a motorcycle, or, like, they like, you know, kind of more, like, edgy comedy, or, like, you know, they like music festivals, not necessarily, you know, clean-cut choir boy, but I still think that, like, you can be that exciting person and still be a nice person.
Yeah. But I tend to date kind of, like, assholes, which... that's what I get in return.
I mean,
right? But it's like when someone is just, I don't know, I want you to put me in my place a little bit.
Yes,
just a little bit.
Absolutely. Dude, it's true. I don't know. I think women who are, like, who do take charge of their lives, like, they want to be in a relationship with somebody who is, like, more masculine than they are.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
I want somebody who's more masculine than I am, and that's kind of tough, honestly.
It's like, it's also just like you spend your entire day trying to, like, boss people around, take the lead. It's like, take the reins. Like, I'm home. Dude, like, take the reins, lead me. Like, lead me to where to go. You make the decisions when we're at home. Like,
Yeah, I want to turn my brain off.
Put the brain on the shelf when you go
thoughts.
home.
You do it.
No, I totally totally get that. And I think kind of going into, like, just, like, hot girl summer, like, looking for that, like, I think that's easier to spot in the wild too. Like, when you go, like, people have, like, on the dating apps, it's like their digital baseball card where they're trying to make themselves, like, look super polished. Like, when you're out and about, like, people are just more at ease. They're more comfortable. They're being a more fun version of themselves. And I think that's easier to see. Like, you're going out in the wild trying to meet people that way.
And guys suck at taking pictures.
They're horrible at taking pictures.
So I will say, this is something I feel like is killing me, is that so I'm 33, and I keep dating these men who are like 26, 27.
Oh.
And I know, it's bad.
Dude, I love it. No.
But then, like, I see these men that are like 35, 38 on the dating apps, and I'm like, oh, you look old. But then I see you in person.
So real.
And I'm like,
real.
you're like a very attractive, like, 38-year-old man. Like, I think you're really attractive in person. You just obviously have no idea how to take photos.
They just don't take them. When do they take it? When they have an accomplishment, like when they catch a fish, when they go hunting, when they graduate. And of course, all their pictures are going to look the same, where it's like them behind a campfire, which is like always like the hallmark picture of a type of guy I would go for.
No, I recently went on a date with a guy who was 38, and we had met in person, but we were with a group, and he had assumed that I was like with another guy in the group, and I was like, no. And as soon as I saw him in person, I thought, oh my gosh, she's really attractive. And then when I saw him come up on the dating app, I was like, wait, he does not look attractive on the dating app at all.
Whoa.
I never would have accepted if I had not met him in person. And then
Dang, yeah, and younger guys like know how to.
Yeah, I think younger guys are just more on social media.
More. Yeah,
they're taking pictures more.
Whoa,
yeah.
Crazy.
Just like people will say, guys will say like, oh, like women, like they're catfishing. It's like, no, it's just every time you go to brunch, it's a photo shoot. Like you know all the angles to make yourself look good. Like, literally, yeah. When we went to happy hour at one time, and it was like if you went down and did Skulls, it was like, what was the occasion? It was Tuesday, and my hair looked good. And so you just have these pictures as a woman. Like we're not running around catfishing people. It's just like you know all the right angles.
Choose from when
it's like when you go, you're a bridesmaid in a wedding, it's like, where's those pictures, like let's go get those. And then of course it's like maybe you're just like overselling yourself, like over promising, under delivering.
And I do social media, so I literally will just set up my ring light in my bedroom and let's take some pictures, and I'm always doing different shoots and stuff like that. So I'm like, I got a lot of pictures.
Exactly.
That shit's so good for like confidence for me. I don't know, like
because you do it. I think that's another good thing about like a hot girl summer is like getting some good pictures of yourself. Like
pictures
if you have a photographer friend,
every angle.
Photographer friend. Like I know sometimes on Groupon there's like boudoir photo shoots that you can get.
For sure.
I mean, like sometimes you can take those. I did a boudoir photo shoot for fun once, and then I used pictures of it where I cropped. It looks like a hedge. I think I've used it on LinkedIn before, but it's just cropped in the right way.
Oh my god, for
it's
real?
Just cropped in the right way. Like you would never know based on how I cropped it. But like doing a photo shoot maybe of yourself, and that can be for your dating profile, and also like Instagram has sort of like sliding in the DMs has sort of become a way of meeting people. Like just having that best foot forward. And I think if you don't have a professional photographer, your own tools, like where's your friend with a nice camera? Do you have a friend who's like moonlights as a photographer? I think that's good for all of us as we have our hot guy, hot girl summer.
Download Lens Buddy. Get a ring light off Amazon. It's so easy. But to your point, if I was a single girl, I would absolutely also make sure that your Instagram is public.
Yes.
Like, it's such an easy way for someone to, like, find you, slide in, and, like, meet people outside of a dating app.
Okay, wait, I have a question. Are you sliding into men's DMs?
No.
Never? Ever?
No. I mean, I might throw, like, a...
Dude,
I'd
be sliding into DMs. Okay.
I don't know. I've never found
It works. I have Young Gravy's phone number because I slid into DMs once, like years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, I do. I do. It works.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be sliding into DMs.
I did try and slide into like some of the FC soccer players in Cincinnati.
Nice.
But they never got seen at all. They were just like, you could see I'm like, they have like 80,000 followers.
Yeah, it probably, I mean, you have your blue check now, and I think that can help.
It does help.
Yeah.
But no, I don't do it from that account. So I literally started so I have my fitness account, but I literally talk about things like constipation and periods and like women's health on there. So I started using my personal account more so that people like would see that. And I'm like, okay, we'll just keep this a little bit more like
totally
hot girl summer pictures.
Totally. When was the last time you got a DM slide, and how'd they find you? What was it from?
Oh, this guy, he's trying to take me on a date. I actually don't know how he found me. He first slid into my DMs on my fitness account, and then he followed my personal one. And he keeps offering these good dates. So
nice.
I don't know. I might have to go on a date with him. He just like, he's in Austin. I think one day he just says like, oh, what are you up to? Like, where are you headed? And like, I did like a little fit check. And I'm like, oh. I don't know.
Dang.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cute.
Nice. And did he have a public profile?
I think he was private, but I followed him back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the challenge that comes with it is like, if you get a DM slide, it's like, you gotta have the public. Because I remember I would get those like, and it was just, I was like, if I follow back and I'm just like, oh, never mind. It's like, then you look like the asshole. So it's just like, why take the chance? Like, unless someone had like 20 mutual friends, I'm like, oh, this is probably just somebody I've bumped into, but just, we never really like made the connection.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just so essential to have public profiles.
Yeah. I also had one just slide in that was bad, and he slid into my DMs, and I was like, the first question I asked him, I was like, how old are you? And he was like, I'm 25. And I was like, I cannot.
I'm 25.
He's like, oh, you're hating. I like to date older women. I was like, just the way you said that. And then I had to follow him back to see. And it was a very like, just very like hunting, very like a lot of dead animals, like not really my thing. And the second question, I was like, how old are you? And then I said, who did you vote for in the last election? And his answer was, why does that matter? And I was like, okay.
Slay.
That,
okay,
like,
goodbye.
That's a hard no for me. Like, I would not date someone with different like political views.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, all right. And then I had to block him because I had followed him.
Yeah,
and then-
you can't just like unfollow. Yeah.
Do you ever, like, when you
So
go
safe.
and you're kind of checking out someone's Instagram, do you ever look at the types of accounts they're following and, like, tag photos and stuff?
Oh, I always
do
look
that.
at tagged photos, always. Because honestly, sometimes that's where they'll get the better photos, because you'll be like, oh, one of his girlfriends took a picture and it, like, actually looks good.
The sisters are always the best at it.
Yes. But then also, you got to look out for, like, anyone who's following, like, Puppy Melons. Do you know this account?
Oh,
No,
it's the
what
account.
is Puppy
So
Melons?
it's an account where it's a puppy picture first, and then you swipe it and it's boob pictures.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so when you're
okay.
scrolling through,
Wholesome.
it looks wholesome.
And then they swipe, and it's, like, some girl with, like, huge boobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Anyone
It's hilarious. It's the most like guy trying to hide
stupidest man
Yes.
invention.
stupidest thing, but it's kind of funny. I think.
I also just think looking at, like, is there, like, follower list, like, full of
butt
just
pictures.
that and, like, tons of, like, young blonde girls, like, just a bunch of them, and if they're not following them back kind of thing.
Yes,
And-
that is so real.
Yeah,
you
'cause-
gotta check that.
No, so
'cause
again,
it does make a difference.
When I was in Cincinnati, I went out with this, like, 24-year-old, and kind of, he was on the minor league hockey team there.
Nice.
So he was really hot. But I was looking at his followers, and I was like, half of your followers are still in college. Like, I am too old to be hanging out with you. They're in college, and I am a 33-year-old woman. Not okay.
Yeah.
That didn't last long,
Dude,
obviously.
that is the risk you're running kind of with, like, dating younger guys. Is like, they're gonna have girlfriends who are like 22.
Yeah.
And you're like all gonna be hanging out in the same room together, and it's gonna be like.
Yeah, I think that would be
don't
like a
want
tough
to.
one. It's like that'd be tough for me. Where it's just like I get tired, like all that. Where I'm just like, oh, I'd be too old. I'd feel old. And yeah, I guess like kind of hot girl summer. Do you guys think there is a an unhealthy way to do hot guy, hot girl summer? Like, when does it go too far?
I think so, for sure. I think that you, have to be honest with people. Like, I think anytime you're leading someone on or making them think that maybe, like, whatever you're doing is, like, more than just, like, having fun, I think that's unhealthy in a mental way. And then I think, obviously, you have to talk about, like, sexual health in terms of, are you using condoms? Are you getting tested? And I think that's really important, and, like, having open conversations about sexual health. And then I think openly as well, just, I am obviously, like, a health and fitness person, so I can really see that line of, okay, how many nights a week have I gone out? Am I still waking up and, like, going on my hot girl walks and, like, getting my workouts in and just still, like, eating foods that, like, nourish me? And, like, what am I also doing to take care of my body in that, like, holistic way outside of also having a social life? So, like, finding that balance and that health is really important for me too.
Oh, 100%. Because summer, it's barbecues, it's beers, which is awesome, and you've worked hard for like this body or your summer body, but it's like, don't like let it all go to waste. Like, what do you because you're like holistic health, like how do you recommend people kind of keep themselves in check and still have fun?
Yeah, I think it's always really important. So my biggest thing is, I think, body image is how you look at your body, not how your body looks. So keeping a really positive mindset and like speaking to yourself well. But then just doing things where I just set really clear boundaries. So I went to trivia last night, but I ate dinner at home because I was like, I know I'm going to have grilled chicken, I'm going to have some vegetables. And then that allows me to enjoy like a couple more beers versus eating every single meal out at a restaurant. And I think that honestly, summer is not the time to try and diet or try to. It's like summer with most of my clients, I was like, we're going to maintain all the work that you've been doing throughout the year. And so understanding that everything has like a consequence to it, right? Like alcohol is not good for you, period, done. Like there's nothing good about it. I don't like, no red wine is going to help your heart or anything. But you get to decide like, okay, I obviously do drink, but I understand as well the consequences that come with that in terms of like I break out a little bit more and like I maybe like am not hitting like quite as many PRs in my workouts. And I think it's ultimately just saying, am I okay with this right now in this season of my life? And knowing that there's going to be different seasons for whatever your health and fitness goal is at that time. And I always say that like you don't have to be in like a weight loss goal or like a strength goal or anything, but your health should always be a goal. So like walks, drinking water, eating a vegetable, getting sleep, like just like those basic health things should always be important, whether you are like trying to like have a fitness goal or not.
Totally. And if you are someone that's like into fitness, of course, everyone always asks the question, and I figure you would have a great answer. How do you ask somebody out at a gym or a fitness class?
Okay. I personally would love this. I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of like hate on the internet where people are like, oh, girls don't want to be talked to at the gym or anything. But if you're at the gym and I'm at the gym, I already know, one, we have this in common. And that is some like a deal breaker for me, as I would not date someone again who doesn't take their health as a priority. But I think just like, one, you're making some eye contact and just go up and talk to them, maybe like start a conversation, talk to them a few times, and then like maybe after you see them like that third time, be like, hey, can I get your number, or can I get your Instagram, would be a really easy one, because obviously a lot of people at the gym are going to be having like, they're going to Instagram, or maybe I obviously have a fitness Instagram kind of thing. I feel like that's always an easy way. Start with that, or just like ask them the same way you would at a bar, I think. Yeah. But I totally am not against the like being hit on at a gym. Don't ask me like mid-set, right? Yeah. Or, like try to catch me like going in or out, or like at the water fountain type of thing. But I would love that if I got hit on at the gym. Yeah, and I also think when people think of cold approaching people, and I hate that term because it sounds so like pickup artisty, but they think it's like you have to go up to this person, like declare your interest and stuff. It's just like when you're at a bar, it's like, what are you drinking? Oh, vodka soda with lime. What about you? The person that says, what about you, is probably interested. If you say, you know, some sort of like gym joke, or like, oh, you see that their water bottle's like a certain, you know, from a certain school, like, oh, did you go there? Like, or what protein are you drinking? Like, something so easy, just the same way you would talk to anyone at a bar, I think, personally. Yeah, exactly. And I think one other thing that I've heard from, you know, people that are, you know, very involved with like gym culture, like if you have like kind of a misconnection at the gym, go check like the gym like story, or like the geotag, because a lot of people tag themselves when they're at the gym. Slide into the DMs and see if you can find them there. But then you cannot ghost someone if you go to the same gym. You can't. Well, the stakes are higher. Yeah, like understand that you better show up right, because you're gonna see them again. Exactly. And I think that kind of brings us back around from ghosting to hot girl summer, and all the way back around again. And I think we're coming up on time. So I guess to like close this out, Justine, where can we find you? Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at justfitjustine. It's just.fit.justine. And you can also check out my podcast. It's called Villain Era Podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, and also TikTok, and TikTok as well for Just Fit Justine and Villain Era Podcast. Awesome. Love to hear it. And then Annabelle, where can people find you?
I tattoo. I'm on Instagram at The Female Gothic. And that's pretty much the only place you can find me. You can find me on Hinge. You can find me on Tinder. Yes, you can. And you can also find her at Electric 13 Tattoo right next to Liberty Bar. If you are interested in fine line tattooing, she is incredible. Wait, how did I can't believe I just found out that you tattoo. Oh, yeah, girl. She does, yeah. So she's an incredible artist. Yeah. So if you have any tattoo needs in the Austin, Texas area,
Please give her a shout because she's incredible, but obviously I'm a little bit biased. But yeah, would love to have you back as like rotating co-host. Like I said, the theme of, having, someone that's doesn't have these like chronically online dating terms, like needled into their head the way that I do. It's awesome to have that and kind of bounce things off. But this has been an awesome episode. These release on Thursdays, so I'll get like the video tonight, and of course you can use it however you want. And can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Let's go enjoy the sunny day. Hot girl summer, y'all. All right, over and out. See you guys next week.